Hey, good morning. We decided on your final for next week. I'm going to be sending out an email to your parents, but next week on Wednesday, there will be a window that's open on Wednesday, and it will be open from noon until 3. That's when your final is for algebra, okay? So kind of arrange your schedule and plan for that. That will be the only window that's open. It's a 2-hour final, but I'm giving you a 3-hour window there. So I will open the test. There's 50 questions, I believe, on the test is what they told me. And so I would encourage you to print the test off Wednesday morning. I want to come in and I want to make a copy of the test because I won't see it until Wednesday morning. Somebody else makes the test. And so I will kind of make it into a PDF. It'll probably be a pretty long one. I'll try to condense it as much as I can, and I'll print it off. I encourage you to do your work on the paper and then kind of put your answers in on the Google form that they'll provide for us. Again, it's going to be open from 12 noon to 3 o'clock. So again, make sure you talk to your parents about it and plan for it. On that final, I see some kids are using apps out there to help them get their homework done. That's nothing new. It is cheating. You're supposed to be able to do this work without apps. And so I'm going to ask your parents to proctor it because kids at school don't have those apps as well, and I can't monitor that. So I'm going to ask that your parents monitor that noon to 3. I understand that some parents won't be able to. I encourage you not to cheat. Sometimes we won't know, but we will find out eventually because as you go to higher math, you will not have the skills that you need. And so that's what this test is about. Did I learn the math that I was supposed to learn for the first half of Algebra 1? Okay, so if you've been using those apps to kind of get by and get your grade up, that is not a healthy practice, and it is really cheating. Your GPAs really matter now, and you're competing against other kids in this class for scholarships and things like that. And so when you get it by cheating, it comes around sooner or later, okay? So learn the math and get the grade that you deserve, okay? So Wednesday, noon to 3. Today is the last part of it. If you did good yesterday, then you'll do well today because all we're going to do is we're going to have 2 lines, linear lines on our graph. And so we just need to kind of do the same thing, but instead of just with 1 line, we're going to do it with 2. Okay, so we call that a system of linear inequalities. System means 2 or more. And inequalities just means less than or greater than. Okay, so when we are kind of starting out and we want to check our answers to see if it's right, perhaps on a test or things like that to make sure that we're doing the math right, if we have a solution here, we just plug these in. Again, some kids are still struggling with this. That's the x, that's the y. All we do is put the y in for the y, put the x in for the x, and see if it's a true statement. So I'm not going to write y because I want to plug that number in. I'm going to write 1 is less than negative 2 because the negative sign was already there, plus 4. Is 1 less than 2? Yeah, so it checks out. So then we try it in the other one. 2 is less than or greater than 1 plus 1. Nope, I did that backwards, didn't I? I'll fix that. The y is 1, so I have 1 is less than or equal to 2 plus 1. And 1 is less than or equal to 3, so it checks out there, so is a solution. Has to work in both, okay? Same thing, here's my y, goes in there. Here's my x, goes in there. 0, is it greater than or equal to 2 times 2, which is 4? 0 is not greater than that, so this is not a solution. All right, so I don't even have to bother checking it because it has to work in both to be a solution. So if it's not working in the first one, don't waste your time. But I'm going to go back and make sure I plug the numbers in the right place. My 0 is the y. 2 times 2 is 4. Yep. All right. So give these two a try real quick. Today's going to go a pretty fast lesson. All right, welcome back. Let's see how you did. All right, so here we are. I got is a solution for the first one and not a solution for the second one. All right. Looks like I plugged all my numbers in the right place. Sometimes in the morning I'm not thinking correctly. I think yesterday I was off by 1. I didn't subtract correctly. Some kids caught it earlier or later in the day. I think I'm good on that one. Okay, so now going back to what we did yesterday, we're just going to have 2 lines on here. So they graphed this first one. So my intercept is negative or positive 4, so that must be this red one here. So this one must be the red. And they said all numbers less than, so they colored in this side over here, everything below it. And then they said, well, let's graph this one. So they said that's a y-intercept of 1, and it's a positive slope, so that must be the blue line. And so they said that was all less than, so that went this way. And so anything in this double shaded area, which they said 2, 1, which falls into that area, so that is a solution. Okay. Over here, again, it's always good to look at the lessons or the equations and study them. This has a plus 0 for the y-intercept, so this must be the red one. And all greater than, so that would be over this side. And then this one has a y-intercept of 1, so that must be the blue line. And they said all less than, so that would be everything over here. And so all my answers are just in this little pie sliver right here. This would be a solution. They said, well, it's 2, 0 in that shaded area. Well, 2 zeros over here, so it's not a solution. Okay. Now we get to do that though. So again, we're back to graphing quickly. Okay. I noticed that first one's in standard form. Be careful when you do standard form. Always kind of check out this y as coefficient here, because if that's a negative, that would probably mean we're going to have to divide by a negative to get that y by itself. If it's not a negative, well, then we can go right ahead and do that standard form stuff in graphing. Okay, so I want to do it. My first one's in orange all the time. So my y-intercept on that one would be a 3. Well, that makes it a little difficult too, doesn't it? Because that 8 doesn't go into 12 very easy. So I want to go ahead and put it into the y equals mx plus b form. So I want to do it over here. I have 4y is less than or equal to minus 8x plus 12. Then we're going to have to divide by a 4. So y is less than or equal to minus 2x plus 3. Okay, so 3, I knew that was mine, but my slope is a negative 2. So if I go down 1, 2 over 1, down 1, 2 over 1, then I can now do my line. So let's go ahead and do that line quick. Again, before you draw your line, think about whether it's going to be a dashed line or a solid line. I have the or equal to sign on this one, so it's going to be a solid line. Okay, so now I need to graph it. I want all numbers less than. So yesterday we talked about less than means everything below the line. So I'm going to carefully, again, that line is called the boundary line. Sometimes they'll say, where is the boundary line? Or what is that line called? It's a boundary line. So everything to the left of that line gets shaded in. Okay, we got the first one done. Let's do the second one. It's already in the y equals mx plus b form. So we have a minus 2 is my y-intercept. Not sure why it's not drawing. And my slope is up 1 over 2. Up 1 over 2. And this one it's going to be a dashed line. And when I go to shade this one, which I want to use blue, I want everything greater than that. And so you'll see when I use blue, everything turns green where my solutions are. Use whatever color highlighters you got there, but it should turn a different color. I like green because green usually means go or good, so I like blue and yellow. All right, so now over here it says give two ordered pairs that are solutions. So I want to kind of be clear about my answer, so I know who's who. And today on paper, we need to make sure that we're clear about that. Our solutions would be anything in the green area, so you could pick anything. I'd stay away from that boundary line, though. I could say negative 2, 2, which is right there. I could say negative 3, 0. Anything in that green area now are not solutions. Well, I want to pick anything in the white here. So 4, negative 2. But I could also pick something up here in the blue. So then I could say 4, 4. You could even pick something in the yellow down here. I could pick anything in this area out here. And it would work in one, this yellow, but not in the other one. Blue would work in one, but not the other one. But the white would not work in either one. Okay? So sometimes they might ask you that on tests. Give me a solution that doesn't work for either. Well, then I want to pick this white area here. Okay? All right. Here's 2 for you to give it a shot. Take the time. Hopefully everybody's using a ruler now. I haven't had you take a picture of your work for a long time, so I don't know if you're using a ruler or not, but you're in 9th grade, so I hope you are. Take pride in your work. All right, let's see how you did. Here's what I got. My first equation, I think I did in orange. Yep, there's my y-intercept of 1, and they said everything less than that, so that's all my yellow down here. The next one says I want y is greater than 2, so the slope is 0, so that means it's a horizontal line, and I want everything greater than, so that's my blue, and green over here is my answers. So I can pick anything in that area right there. Okay? All right. Over here, negative 7. Well, I couldn't get a negative 7 on my graph, so I just made a T-chart. Back to 8th grade basics. Pick a number. Put it in. I picked 3. Put it in. Negative 4. I got out, so I went down. 3, negative 4. And now I have a dot on there. I already knew my slope was up 1 over 1. And so again, you have multiple strategies to get an equation graphed on the line. We can use any of those tools that we have learned to make that happen. Okay, so again, the green's all my solutions, and anything that's not in green would not be a solution. Now, the other day, Monday I think it was, we said, okay, sometimes parallel lines will have no solution because they never cross, which is true, but on inequalities, there's a slight chance that we might have some solutions. So this first one, again, looking here, negative 3 is my y-intercept, so this must be the red one. And they said all numbers less than, so that was over here is where they shaded in. This is my y-intercept is a 2 on this one, so this is the blue over here, and you can see that they don't overlap. So this one has no solutions. This one over here, negative 3, so this must be my red one. And they said all greater than, so they went this way. Looks like they used orange. And then this one's y-intercept of 1, so they said less than, so then that must be these guys down this way. And so you can see they overlap right in the middle here. So we would say the points between the parallel lines, and I would even say purple here. Mine turns out green, so it's really clear to a person that's looking at your answers as to where that answer is. Here's another one that's kind of interesting. Negative 2 intercept, so that must be the red one again. And then a positive 4, slope of negative 3, that must be the blue. So let's go back to the red one. They said less than, so that's these guys, that's below. Now sometimes kids kind of say, well, I can't tell if that's above or below. It's already leaning this way. So if I make that line go even more that way, then you can kind of tell that below, that's what we want, below, would be this side of the line. Okay, and then they took the blue one and they graphed that one, which is way over here. And they said, we want that one to be less than. So again, it's still leaning that way. So this is everything to this side of the boundary line. So the double shaded in area is right here. Okay. If I said blue right there, coordinate there, well, that would work for the blue equation, but it wouldn't work for the red one. So we would say something to the effect of the left of this line called y is less than minus 3x minus 2. Okay. Or they even said the same solutions as that one, because that's true. All the solutions over here work for that first equation. And all right, so here's 3 of them for you to do. So again, it's going to take a little bit of time, but practice, practice, practice. Okay. Come on back when you're done. All right, here's the answers that I got. The first one, I got no solutions. Second one was a very narrow solution area, but it's in between the parallel lines, and mine ended up being the green area. Okay, and I even stated that down there, look for the green area. And then over here, I got all the points to the right of this equation called y is greater than minus 2x plus 3. Okay, make sure you pay attention. Like on the first one, I had a dashed line on the first line and a solid one on the second. Over here, I have both solid lines. And then over here, both of them are dashed lines. Again, that's important on your graphs. Okay, pay attention to those. Okay. All right, so now here's our surfboard problem. That girl on the first page. The surf shop makes profits given on this table. The shop owner wants to sell at least 10 surfboards, and she wants to sell at least 20 wakeboards every month. So he wants to earn $2,000 a month. Holy cow, we have 3 things here that we're looking at. So we got to decide on who's going to be on the x-axis. So let's just so we're all staying the same, let's put surfboards because they gave us that one first. So let's put surfboards on that table. And that would make this one wakeboards. Oh, man, my pen's like having a hard time today. Okay, so wakeboards on that one. Now, this guy says he wants to sell at least 10 surfboards. Now, surfboards are on the x-axis, and so I'm just going to use S. I want to say he wants to sell at least, so that means S has to be more than or equal to 2 of those. And then he says, I want to sell at least 20 wakeboards, so I want to use W for that. It's on the y-axis. W has to be greater than 20, so I'm going to have to change my scale. I can already tell that because I have to have a line at 20. Now we're talking about the money he wants to earn. He wants to earn $2,000. If I look over here, this is the amount he sells surfboards for. So he gets $150 for surfboards. He gets $100 profit for every wakeboard that he sells. And I want to add those profits together. Now I need to know what kind of sign goes in between it. Here's all the money he's bringing in. This is the amount he wants. So it says he wants to make at least. So I'd be really happy if I made more money than $2,000 because that's why you're in business. But I want or equal to. That's kind of like his minimum expectation. So we have 3 equations or inequalities on this one that we have to graph. So we're going to have to change our scale over here for sure. So I think if we just say this is 5, 10, 15, 20, we might be okay. The profit kind of worries me a little bit there. So if we change that scale, we usually should change the other one to 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. All right, let's get these graphed now. So on the S-axis, he wants to sell more than 2 surfboards. So this is really 2.5. So I'm just going to draw a line like a little bit to the left of. Oh wait. Where did I get to? He said 10. Let me go back and fix that. So he wants to sell at least 10 surfboards. Where did I get these numbers? So 10, and then he wants 20 wakeboards. So that makes it a little bit different. We want to come out here to 10, and we want to draw our line at 10. Now, okay, so that makes it a little easier on my graph. So I want to go extend it past it. It's a solid line, because if he sold 10, he'd be happy. That's the minimum he wants to sell, but he wants to really sell more. So I'm going to do that one in yellow. More would be to this side, 13, 14, 15. Okay. And then I'm going to go with my W now. I'm going to do that one in orange. He wants to sell more than 20. So that's way up here. So let's see how this graph is going to work out. Boy, I'm hoping, since I already started coloring, he wants to sell 20 wakeboards, but he wants to sell more than that. So that's going to be up here. Whoops. So right now my solution's in that green. Now I got to do his money amount. He wants to make at least a certain amount of money. So I'm going to get my calculator out here. Their XY intercepts would be good to use. Let's see if my lights come back on. I got to go turn my lights on. I'll be right back. All right. So I'm going to use my XY intercepts. 2,000 divided by 100 is 20. So that's my W intercept, which was wakeboard. So there's my W right there. So my line's going to be there. And 2,000 divided by 150. I'm getting 13.3. So that'd be 12 and a half. So it's going to be like somewhere right in there. Okay. So now I want to draw that line. Best I can. And I want to make more than that. So I want to take another color highlighter. I guess I'll use pink. And really more than would be anything on this side. Getting a little sloppy on my writing there. Alright. And so that's kind of nice and cool that it turns red on my paper there. Blue. Kind of gets into the art stuff. Alright. So anything that's in my black area would be the triple area. So anything in this black area would be a good amount of that solves and makes good on all three equations requirements. So let's give him, how many answers did they say? 2 possible combinations. So he could do 20 surfboards. And I'm going to try to see if it shows up in orange up here. 20 surfboards and, I don't know, 25 wakeboards. He could also do, let's just go over here somewhere. He could do 15 surfboards. And what are we counting by? 24. So I'd say 23 would be a safe one. Wakeboards. All right. So anything in that black area. All right. So now you have one here talking about cheese. So again, you have to decide on what's going to be on your x-axis or your horizontal axis, and what are you going to put on your vertical axis. So since it said pepper jack, you might want to put pepper jack here. And cheddar was the second one. All right. So now write your 3 inequalities, because this one here, she says she wants to have at least 2 pounds of each, and we got 2 kinds of cheese. So if she wants pepper jack, I want to use P for pepper jack. She wants more than 2 pounds of pepper jack. She wants more than 2 pounds of cheddar. And now she wants to spend at most $20. Money over here. Pepper jack costs $4, so that's 4P. Plus 2 C's. And money, we always want that to be less than or equal to 20. All right, so graph those real quick. Come on back and let's see if your graph looks like mine and what kind of answers you got. Okay, so there's what my graph looks like. And again, the black area is the area that has multiple answers there. Okay? All right, so tomorrow we'll do a chapter review. We're done with linear equations. We'll start kind of reviewing for the final on the test tomorrow as well. In the review, you'll see some questions from earlier this year that we learned, kind of preparing for that big test next Wednesday. Again, talk to your parents about next Wednesday from 12 to 3. That's going to be your window for your final. I'll try to send them an email today, kind of preparing them a week in advance. Okay? If there's for some reason that you can't be on that 12 to 3, it has to be a legitimate reason. You need to kind of email me, and I will email the person at ALA math curriculum that's in charge of it, and we'll kind of work out how we can unlock it at a different time for you. Okay? All right. We'll see you tomorrow.